I'm gonna share with you how the Andrew Masters drum sample pack sounds in this video. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this is a drum sample pack that I actually bought a while ago before my wife and I had our daughter, so this video I've been wanting to make for a while. It's been on the back burner, understandably so. But now that I'm back in the swing of things on YouTube, I figured now is a good time to be making this video. So for those of you who don't know, Andrew Masters is a YouTuber and he's got a few great channels. One of them, his main channel, Andrew Masters, he does a lot of great studio tours and some behind the scenes stuff. And the other one is Studio Time. That one is more of the nitty gritty when it comes to like gear and operating a studio and things like that. Both are great channels. If you have not checked them out, go check them out and give him a subscribe. So Andrew Masters is a drummer by trade, and he put out this drum sample pack a little while ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I have not looked it up, but relatively recently. And when I first got it, I played with it a little bit and thought it sounded great. And because it sounded great, of course, I wanted to do a video on them. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm going to show you some of the sounds, but also what I'm gonna mostly focus on is how these drums sound in a mix with other instruments, because that's what's important. So what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing these drum samples in kind of a hard rock mix environment. So before we hop over to the computer, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Of all the views I get, I think about 8% of people are actually subscribed. So if people were to subscribe, it would help the channel grow a ton. Also, in the description below, there are links to the gear I use on my website, links to my music, and things like that. So please go check that out as well. All right, let's go listen to some drums. All right, so before we dive into this, I'm just gonna go over a couple things real quick. The price of the sample pack is $35, that's it. And some of the things that includes are 312 drum samples, 87 mixed one-shots, 604 loops, cymbals and hi-hat loops, kick and snare loops, drum fills, tom patterns, multi-mic options, presets for your Logic, Ableton, battery, and Trigger 2. And then these are also recorded at 24-bit, 48K, so that should cover your bases. So this sample pack for $35 comes with a lot of stuff, and this stuff sounds really good. All right, so here we are in my project in Cubase. I spent maybe 20 minutes putting this together, 30 minutes putting it together. So what I'm doing, if you've not seen my videos before, I pretty much always work with MIDI drums, but the way I have them broken down is I have each drum, for the most part, on its own track. So let me show you what that looks like. So I got my snare, kick, toms, hats, and overheads down here. That's all I'm kind of using in this track. Don't think I'm actually even using Tom 1. But you can add, subtract, depending on what software or plugin you're using for triggering the MIDI drums. That can kind of change with whatever you're using. I am using just Cubase's stock Groove Agent SE. It's pretty easy to you can just literally drag and drop sounds onto that and move them around, manipulate them, and then you basically have a plugin that's playing your drum samples. So like I said, on this track, I am using the kick, snare, hats, I think just the floor tom, one of the floor tom options. And then I'm using, what I ended up doing was I have the overheads, and then I think the ride also just going, or excuse me, the cymbals and the ride going to just my overhead channel. And then I'm also running just like a drum reverb with it. So pretty simple setup. But one thing I love about this drum sample pack is, let me go in here and show you something real quick, is you have your different velocities. So you have your different sounds as you go through. And let me show you what I mean by that. So when I load in the sounds to Groove Agent, depending on what the velocity I choose for that MIDI note is, it'll play a different sound. So the difference between this sound and this sound, you can tell a difference between those two. So that's the way I have this set up. So as the velocities on my MIDI channels go, so do the samples. So if it's a light velocity, it's a lighter hit. If it's harder velocity, it's a harder hit. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just play you the track I put together. It's kind of like an alt hard rock track, just your basic guitar, drums, and bass. So I'll play about 10 seconds of it, and then I'll keep chatting at you. So the first thing for me when working with the sample pack was the snare options you have. The snare sounds so good. I'm such a sucker for a good snare. I want beefy low end snare, and I could get the exact sound I wanted with this snare. So let me go ahead and solo the drums for you and kind of show you what I did to them. Now, depending on what you're mixing and the style, your EQs and things like that will probably differ. So let me just go and solo drums and let them play and loop, and I'll kind of click around and solo things, unsolo things, so you can kind of hear what's going on. So that is what they sound like on their own. So basically all I'm doing on these drums that I'm using in this track is I always put decapitator on almost all of my tracks, just because I feel like it just makes things sound better just off the bat. So I have that on all of them. And then I'm usually running it to my Channel Strip 2 SSL, where I'll do some carving, just like kind of the first touch of EQ on it. And then depending, then I'll hop in here and I will put just the Pro Q4 EQ on there. So these seem kind of drastic on here, but this is just what I wanted for this snare to kind of really push through and cut on the track how I wanted it to. So that's one thing I like about these samples a lot too, is the quality is great, so you can really do what you need to do with them to get them to sit in your mix as you need them to. So I'm gonna let this track play some more, and so you can kind of hear them in context again, and I'm gonna kind of solo guitars and bass in and out. I'm just a sucker for the snare drum, especially. The kick sounds great. So let me kind of hit some of these on their own. Let's see what I got here. So there's your snare. And you can hear that velocity difference. Same with the kick. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go in here and turn down this reverb so you get kind of more of a true idea of what they sound like. And now let it be known that this is after some of my EQ and things like that. So this is what they're sounding like in this. There's your tom 1. Tom 2, here's some closed hi-hats. Open hi-hat. Yeah, the snares sound great too. I mean, or the crashes. Yeah, everything to me just sounds fantastic. I just love having another set of drum samples that I can pull in and out depending on what project I'm working on. For so long, I've been using Easy Drummer and have gotten some expansion packs on that, which are great. I love those. They work for most everything I use, but just knowing that I have this arsenal, this, you know, drum sample pack added to my collection of possible drum sounds, just, I love it. And for $35 and everything you get, it's, you know, it's not overwhelming, but there's just folders and folders of content for you to work with, which is ideal, honestly. I mean, you don't want to be sold short on what you're getting. One thing I haven't really messed around with much are the loops and things like that. I usually don't work with loops myself, so I just wanted to work with something that I normally do, which is program my own drums, doing my own drum lines, things like that, and then sliding these samples in and giving them a quick mix and seeing how they fit with an alt hard rock track. All right, well, there you have it. That is the Andrew Masters drum sample pack. In the description below, there's a link to his website where you can purchase the pack. I think they sound great, and just having another set of good sounding drum samples to pull from my arsenal is just a plus. So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. I truly appreciate it. Until next time, see you later.